Hello and welcome to another Purveyor of Light. Today we're doing a little out of the ordinary episode from us. Today we're covering the photographer Vivian Maier, or Vivian Maier, as some people pronounce. I came across her in early 2000s, and her work and her story really fascinated me. So I really went in and studied her work. For those of you that don't know who she is, she was completely an unknown artist. Her street photography is now renowned. She did street photography from 1950 to the 1990s before her death. And the funniest thing about the story is she took over 100,000 images, okay? And nobody ever saw them. They never saw the light of day. She loved photography. She loved the act of photography, but she would never show anyone her work. And it was only until after her death that her work was finally discovered. Of all things, a gentleman in Chicago at an auction bought a crate of old carts and that, and he found 100,000 undeveloped rolls of film, and that's where the story begins. It's a fascinating story. I highly recommend. I'll show you a little clip here of the beginning stories of her, but I highly recommend you take the time and go watch the full documentary on her life because it was quite fascinating. So let's go ahead and run the video.
The auction house is across the street from my home. I found this box loaded with negatives. I won it for $380.
The history of street photography is being rewritten.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier.
Exhibitions in New York, and LA, and London, Chicago.
We've had more interest in this work than any other photographer.
There's one particular that I bought, which I love. The composition is slightly off to me, and I think that's why I like it.
Vivian was a very private woman.
She was so awesomely unique.
She was not an open person. She was a closed person.
Vivian was my nanny.
Yeah, she was our nanny.
He certainly had no idea she took photographs.
She lived on the third floor in our attic.
This was the forbidden zone.
One of the first things she asked me for was please to put in a lock.
She said, don't ever open this door.
He didn't know there was this creative person there.
She took so many photos.
Around 100,000 negatives, 700 rolls of undeveloped color film, 8mm and 16mm movies.
She would take us and we would just walk in the worst parts of town, and I think she liked that.
You know, maybe we just didn't understand her.
What would you say to Vivian now?
What drove you to hide yourself away?
I'd say to her, why the why the didn't you ever show me all the stuff you did? I thought I was a friend of yours.
In death, she is getting the fame she never had in life.
I'm uncovering an artist. If I'm leaving this giant boulder unturned, it would be a mistake.
Of course, she would have hated every minute of it. She would never have let this happen.
She had some compulsive behaviors.
She was a pack rat.
I asked her what she did. Her answer was, I'm sort of a spy.
We would say, what's your name? Miss V. Smith. There's a piece of the puzzle missing.
As she was photographing, she was seeing just how close you can come into somebody's space. That tells me a lot about her. She could generate this moment, and then she's gone.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you a taste on who Vivian Maier was and what a fascinating story it was about her. Like I said, when I discovered her work, I was fascinated by the story, and I was even more fascinated about the quality of her photography. Her street photography was inspirational, and she captured so many unique moments. And her work is collected and on display in exhibitions all over the country. And her work is only now being appreciated, okay? And I can't even begin to go through 100,000 images, but her work and her captured over this time frame was pretty some amazing work, especially how she just captured, real America, okay, as I'll call it. Her work was quite fascinating. She went to some of the worst parts of town. She captured everyday life, real things, but her perspective, her compositions, her work were quite amazing. And now they're just being appreciated, unfortunately, after her death. But anyhow, her camera of choice was the medium format Rolleiflex, sorry. And I've studied her work, and I've read her compositional technique and her development settings. And what I've done is I've developed a Vivian Maier Lightroom preset, which will allow you to come close to replicating her type and style of photography, and it works pretty good. I'm actually pretty proud of it, and it works on a vast variety of applications. So let me go ahead and show that to you. Okay, so here I've got a picture, and nothing out of the ordinary about it, but I can put on the filter, and you can see it takes you right in. So the before and the after, it takes you right into the Vivian Maier look. The next one here, again, I can apply the preset, and now we have that Vivian Maier look, that tonality, the lighting, bringing the old streets alive again. And here's another type of photo, and I'm doing this to show you that it works on a vast majority of photos. So here it is again, the before and the after. It works on a vast variety of tones and shapes. Here's now, it takes you back to the classic 1950s look, right? The before and the afters. It adds just the right amount of grain to simulate the film that was used in the Rolleiflex, and I'm quite pleased on how it performs on such a large variety of photos. Okay, so the next one here. So now we have a typical cafe scene, and again, let's give it that Vivian Maier treatment, and there we are, the before and the after. And you can see it brings back that vintage film look, the grain, and it's very close to her technique. Here's another one. Again, you look at it, it's modern day, but if we could turn around and apply the preset and look, and now we have taken it back in time, okay, the before and the after. It just gives it that film look, a classic quality of what Vivian Maier did. Here's another street shot, okay, and again, giving it to Vivian Maier. Now we've gone back and we've taken it now into that Vivian Maier look. So I really encourage you. I really admire her work. She has over 100,000 images on display. If you can, I would look up to see if there's any exhibitions in your area, and I really recommend you see her work in person, because you can't really appreciate it unless you see it in a gallery on display. Her work is quite amazing. Her story is even more amazing than her work. So that's it. If you're interested in getting this preset, it's available on my website at lenerickson.com, and it's available in the store there if you wish. If not, study her work and do what I did, and that is, create your own preset with the characteristics of her photography style. You won't regret it. Okay, until next week, you guys take care.